beautifuls. Oh gosh, my voice. Welcome back to Seduce Me Too. I kind of just woke up, took the dogs out, and started to record. Since I'm off today, so happy. I'm so happy. But let's get started. Diana, however, became a weeping mess, crying and shaking while holding Orabelle clips.
Orabelle!
I couldn't believe it. The spirit was Orabelle, Diana's sister? What kind of coincidence was that? How did Diana not know herself? How did Orabelle not tell me? It obviously knew Diana just from how they were embracing. Still, the sight of Diana in mournful tears gripped to my heart. Diana lost her sister and suddenly was able to speak to her once more, even after Orabelle's death. It was as if fate wanted to apologize for taking her family away. I almost became a crying mess myself. It was a very tearful reunion after a dramatic battle. I didn't know how to feel in the situation we were in. Diana didn't seem to care as she continued to cry and hold Orabelle. Erik wrapped an arm around me, comforting me as I wiped my eyes and tried to avoid weeping. Diana, however, didn't seem to care about the tears running down her face.
This is the first time I've heard you cry, sister.
I'm sorry. I tried to save you.
It's okay. The Demon Lord did this to me.
It suddenly made sense. Orabelle was an unborn baby, so it wouldn't have known its name. But Demon Lord was the one who killed her, so the puzzle pieces were connecting perfectly. Orabelle then phased out of Diana's hand, making the demoness gasp and look up at that orb. Orabelle, however, floated in place in front of Diana as she continued to speak.
The Demon Lord made me find the human.
What? Orabelle was working for the Demon Lord? She helped the imps bring me to the demon world?
Orabelle, you were the human all along? Why not just tell me? Why?
He made me. But now I have nowhere to go.
Oh, Orabelle.
Something in the air didn't seem right. Something about Orabelle became off, and I couldn't place my finger on it. The more I stared, the more concerned I became, and the heavier the nervousness in my gut grew.
Isaiah, I love you so much. But
the air seemed to freeze, and the room became still as Orabelle floated back towards the body of the Demon Lord. As Orabelle stopped, she began to glow a dark red and purple color.
I can't forgive you.
All at once, the orb flashed and vanished into thin air, only a misty gasp present in the aftermath.
Orabelle!
We looked around, trying to pin down where she had gone, as the Demon Lord's hand suddenly lifted up and slammed into the ground. We shot our heads back at his corpse, seeing it begin to animate. The Demon Lord slammed his other hand to the ground and began to push himself up, curling his shoulders over and using whatever strength he had and getting onto his knees and eventually his feet. Man, you can't kill this guy! What? The Demon Lord's body stood up and steadied itself on the ground on its 2 feet, heavy and void of life. What was happening? How could this be? As the Demon Lord's head lifted to look up at Diana, I gasped. His eyes were glossed over in dark purple, almost black color. Blood continued to pour from the wounds of its body, but the body continued to move, as if it had a small breath of life. His mouth dropped and began to mold itself into forming words, dead and echoing with Orabelle's voice seeping through.
You let him kill me. You let him kill mother and father.
Orabelle!
You let the human live and let us die. I can never forgive you.
The voice of the Demon Lord and Orabelle seemed to fuse in a distant harmony as its body slowly began to march towards the unmoving Diana. My mind screamed for her to move and grunt, but Diana didn't seem to be immobile at the oncoming danger. Yeah, Diana, move! She remained in place, shocked and frozen at what her sister had said and done. I could barely make out her hair and body shuddering in natural fear, but she wouldn't move at all. Grab Diana or call out again? Grab Diana, she ain't gonna move when we call out for her. There was no way I was gonna let Orabelle hurt her, sister or not. I rushed forward and grabbed Diana by the horns, pulling her back as fast as I could. Diana gripped onto my hands, digging her nails into my skin, but I didn't care. I needed to bring her away from the incoming enemy. As I dragged her, Orabelle watched, unamused by my intrusion. I could only glare back. Despite Diana flailing in my hands, she wouldn't take her away. I wouldn't let her. I finally released Diana's horn and stepped forward, placing myself between the two sisters. I won't let you hurt her, even though, I'm I kind of want you to just go away, because I don't want to be here either. Orville loomed toward us, filling me with dread. The stench of the Demon Lord's corpse became unbearable, despite not being dead long. I still had no energy to fight, the realization making me step back from the undead Demon Lord.
You hurt me!
Hurt me.
Now I'll hurt you!
Orville picked up the Demon Lord's broken blade parts and slammed them together, fusing them back to one sword with her energy. How is that possible? She was a spirit. Orville then started to charge at us, raising the sword barely over Erik's and my head. I prepared to defend but was blocked by the back of Erik's head and a wave of ethereal tendrils. All at once the tendrils grabbed a hold of the sword and forced it away. Around Erik's body was a deep aura of red and purple mist swirling in the air and wrapping around his summoned tendrils. As he stepped forward, Orville surprisingly stepped back.
I won't let you hurt the one I love.
No. With a snarl, Orville lunged at Erik, trying to wrap her arms around him, but was pushed away by Erik's tendrils. Orville and Erik charged at one another, Orville gripping to Erik's outstretched tendrils, and began to push at each other. The wounds on the Demon Lord's body began to open and bleed further, causing him to quake as it pushed Erik against Erik's strength.
You won't last long in that body. Give up.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
With her screams, Orville knocked away the tendrils before her and managed to get close to Erik, but not without impaling herself on traps Erik placed around him, which caused Spike to shoot up into the rotten body of the Demon Lord. Disgusted at the sight and smell, Erik used his tendrils to shove Orville off of him and towards the opposite end of the room, where Orville slid and rolled against the marble, painting it red and black with blood. Quickly, Orville jumped back and began to howl and scream, her cries filling the room and making it quake violently. I held my head trying to block out the sound, but her cries began to fill my head. With dissonant pain, Erik in defiance sprayed a volley of spikes at her, all landed on target. The spikes remained in the corpse, but Orville continued to move, desperate to fight back with everything she had. What was wrong with her? How was she able to keep going? Or were the spirits really that powerful? I quickly grabbed Diana, pulling her up to her feet, and ran to the corner of the room, needing to be in the room still to help Erik, but desperate to keep Orville away from Diana.
Orville!
Diana began to flail and fight back, but I dug my nails into Diana's side, forcing her with gritted teeth. Diana, move! Like, damn! As Diana's back hit the corner of the room, I could hear Erik release a grunt of pain, causing me to look over my shoulder to see what had happened. Erik, having knocked away a slash from Orville's sword, unfortunately couldn't block a fist from sending Erik flying at the wall. Erik's body slammed into stone and he fell onto the ground, gasping for air, and curled over himself from pain. Oh my god, I can't protect everything! I instantly rushed over and knelt at Erik's side, wrapping an arm over him as he slowly began to rise back up.
I'm fine, princess.
I shook my head and looked to Orville, seeing her slowly make her way towards us. I was certain that the body she was using was drained of any blood, yet she managed to keep it moving with her own energy. It was morbidly disgusting to see, but I was forced to bear witness as it came closer to where we were. That's really creepy. It's like a zombie. What are we going to do? Erik and I looked to each other, desperate to find an answer in each other's eyes. However, one finally appeared in my mind. According to Diana, when I had Orville within me, I was overflowing with energy. If I was still standing, then I still had some left. There wasn't enough for me to fight, but there was enough to give Erik to possibly help him. I suddenly grabbed Erik's face and kissed him, willing my energy into his body. That Erik despite naturally accepting it, stared wide-eyed at me surprised. That's cute. I didn't want to pass out, so I pulled away when I began to feel lightheaded. I hoped and prayed that it was enough energy to end this fight, so I smiled at Erik, nodding to him. Finish this so we can go home. I quickly collapsed onto my hands, panting for air. The room began to spin, but I had to shake it off, and I had to see this through. Erik gazed at me before nodding and turning to Orville, who was halfway across the room now. Slowly, Erik rose to his feet and summoned his mob of tendrils, each dancing and waving like angry snakes in the air.
You've been in my way for long enough, spirit.
Walking forward, Erik lashed out his tendrils at Orville, whipping and snapping at the body she was possessing, forcing it back, despite her attempts to block and force them away. Every so often, a spike would fly from Erik's ring of tendrils, piercing into Orville like a skewer. As Erik passed the Demon Lord's sword, he reached down and picked it up, surprisingly with ease. I could barely stand, gripping onto the wall as I watched Erik lift the sword to his side.
You possessed my wife, brought her to this world, and dared to attack her? All because of what my father did to you. Pitiful.
Orville let out a threatening and frightening shout, lurching forward to try and tackle Erik, but was pushed away by the Demon Lord's blade and Eric's tendrils, causing her to knock into collapse in one of the nearby pillars. Orville slowly rose, pushing the debris off of her. Before glaring hard at Erik, Erik glared back in kind before raising his father's blade up into his side, preparing to charge forward to plunge into her.
I will send you to purgatory and free you from your suffering.
With one last cry, Erik ran and thrust the Demon Lord's sword forward into Orville, causing her to cry out. The room began to vibrate and quake, causing me to cover my head. However, Erik released the hilt of the sword and rushed back to me. A bright light filled the room, blinding Erik and I. Erik gripped onto me, trying to cover my body with his, but the white color flash invaded my vision. Silence slowly consumed the air as my world became blank like a canvas. I looked up at last to see the spirit orb bobbing up and down the air.
You saved me! Thank you! You freed me at last!
Orville. The orb spun around itself once, releasing a small giggle. It seemed overjoyed despite what had happened earlier. Had Orville been under some sort of corruption?
I can finally go home!
Orabelle.
I turned my head to see Diana slowly walking forward to be by my side, staring at the orb in both sadness and relief. Orville floated over to hover in front of Diana, a soft line of sadness in her own voice.
I'm sorry, big sister,
It's alright. You're free now.
Diana wrapped her arms around Orville, laying her cheek softly on the orb as it flickered a warm glow. The air was calm and the love between Diana and Orville seemed to hum with the orb's light. However, Diana was still alive, and I could tell that this was her final goodbye to the sister she never got to meet. It was heartwarming as well as bittersweet, but Diana deserved proper closure with the sister she grew to love.
Tell Mother and Father that I'm alright, okay?
I will.
Orabelle?
Diana and I suddenly looked into the light around us, hearing a man's voice. Orville spun around in a circle, letting out a happy gasp.
Father? Father!
Orville quickly left Diana's arm and began to fly into the bright light, but stopped and spoke once more.
Take care of the world, okay? You're everyone's mother now, sister.
Diana grinned and chuckled a bit, stray tears falling down the side of her face.
I'll do my best.
Bye-bye, human!
Bye, I guess. I had a name. I couldn't help waving as the orb finally faded away into the light. As the world returned to me in the great hall, I found myself wrapped in Erik's arms. I looked up to see him staring down at me and worried, like I had passed out. Erik?
Love, are you alright?
I nodded. I was alright now. The battle was over and I was free to return home. Great sacrifices were made, but it was all over now. I was going home. Diana, who had been sitting in the corner of the room, braced her knees to her chest, taking in what had happened as well. I was positive that she was truly there with me to say goodbye to Orville, so she had to recuperate.
Sarah.
Oh, there he is! I heard voice, a soft flash of light pulsed in front of her before revealing Settle, out of breath.
My lady!
Despite being out of breath, Settle quickly dropped to his knees and wrapped his arms around
I
Diana.
was on my way to tell you! We've won! We forced the enemy to dissolve and surrender and...
Shut up.
Shut up and kiss her? Yay! Settle flinched before Diana wrapped her arms around his chest and pulled him tightly against her.
Just hold me.
Damn it! You're supposed to say kiss you. Shut up and kiss you. Settle stared down at Diana before nodding and embracing her, resting his head against her comfortingly. I could barely hear her soft sobbing from her, but I was glad to know that Settle was there for her. I looked up at Erik and smiled before kissing him, relishing in the victory of the rebellion and the release of my curse. I was finally going home. Alright. Let's go follow her. Why not? It was good to see you again, though. Yeah.
Nevertheless, I mean, who would have thought that Diana's own sister was the one that brought you to the demon world? It's a small universe, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty small. So we're gonna end it right here. I think next episode should be the last of Erik, and then we gotta go back to James, hopefully finish him off, and once we get his good ending, that's gonna be the end of the series. I know there's like more to it in the visual novel, like the bonus and then Diana's route, but I feel like this series has gone for a long time, and I'm quite surprised. I'm very thankful that you guys have been sticking along for so long. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful.